Guys, so we had some monstrous moves in the market today, some textbook explosive moves, and I want to break down three of them just so in the future you're positioned that you're actually able to capitalize on these. So these moves are all going to be based around the highs and lows of months. So we'll start with oil. So oil, with all of these explosive moves, I use Stacy Burke's concepts to identify them. So in oil, we always want to be using the daily chart as our signal day, let's say. So this is what gives us one second, it's an alert. GBP USD, let's check it out quickly. SideQuest. Right, what is GU? Okay, so just explaining why I had this alert here. So it's again in the same thesis. So we have 3 days closed and breakout. So one breakout, two breakout, and this is our third breakout. Friday actually finished the whole week in breakout. So that's that's an even stronger indication that this market is likely to reverse from here, because the thesis is that if it closes in breakout, that means if we look at the weekly, so there's going to be a lot of volume, a lot of money entering the market on the short side. The banks can then use this liquidity, because for every buy order there has to be a sell order. They can use all of these shorts to have an explosive move back to the upside. So here we came down on a Monday. This blue area is a large higher time frame imbalance. So we're filling this imbalance, broke structure, and now we've pulled back down to this fair value gap, let's say, or order block, or whatever you want to call it. So this is now has potential to have a reaction and move from here. But I'm done trading for the day, so I'm going to leave this. But again, just monitoring how we could have our shift day and then a continuation day tomorrow. Anyways, back to what we're discussing. So again, the same thesis, 3 closes in breakout. So the signal days that I look for, or that Stacy identifies, is 3 closes in breakout. So here we can see, again, always on the daily. So we see 1 breakout, 2 breakout, 3 breakouts. So this is now a signal day. So once we had this, I marked 3 closes in breakout on my charts. And then potentially then the next day we can have a reversal trade if it sets up. This then ties in with the high of the month. So not only do we have a signal day, but we also have a key level. So highs and lows of weeks, highs and lows of months are the areas that I look for my best trades on, the ones that I scale up. And then we can see here, so this was when the day closed in breakout, and then we have pump, 3 peaks into the high, and then that rolls over for a beautiful, beautiful explosive setup. So this was our signal day, the last day. So again, so we closed, and again, this is 3 closes in breakout at the beginning of the month. So this orange line here is the beginning of the month. 1 push, 2 push, 3 pushes. So this is I had this marked, and then now we're looking for, do we get a pump and dump, a pump and a false break of the high of the month? If it sets up like that, this is set up to be an explosive down move. And then this is the trade management. So we already have our signal day. We've pumped outside of the high of the month. This was the high of the month. So we pump up, put in a middle structure. I call this, it's basically, a middle structure is just a word that I use for, once we're putting in a peak, we'll put in the initial peak, and then we'll have the first dump, let's say. This is often followed by a stop hunt, and the stop hunt will then trade into the original peak or the extreme, or it will stop hunt it. But we have the initial pump, put in the peak, they have a push down, and that's most of the time followed by a trade back up into the extreme. I then trade the rollover of that. So sometimes we don't get the middle structure and then I don't get an entry, but the highest and the most explosive moves, the highest win rate and the most explosive moves come from waiting for this middle structure to get created and then that to roll over. So here, New York opens, we then get another fractal. So we're in a pump and dump template. We then get another pump. So this is a full cycle, a full level 1, level 2, level 3 on a smaller time frame. This is the 1 minute, so this could even be like a 15-second full cycle up. And then once we roll over, we break structure. This is what I'm looking for. So I enter on a fractal shift. And what I mean by that is I don't just enter on the first break of structure. At least I don't scale up on that. I wait until we have a second break of structure, and that's when I then scale up my position. So you can put in a feeler after the first break of structure, but I'm only adding serious size after we then roll over again. So what I'm looking for is, we already have the trade's already confirmed. So we already have our signal day, and now we're up at the high of the week. What we're just looking for here now is the false break. So as soon as New York opens and we pump up and we roll over, I'm looking for coils. I'm looking for price to condense. This is where the explosions come from. So once I visualize it as like an in-breath, so the market will go, breathe in. The in-breath is the coil, ready for the exhale. The exhale is the explosion. So the market is literally just inhaling and exhaling on all time frames. And I look for these to identify where I want to get in the market. So we want to be getting in before the explosion happens. Again, here, this is the first entry. So you can see here, I'll wait for a rollover. And then we have a in-breath. So you want to be getting in. So this trade is already confirmed. We've already added size. Now, before we scale into our next position, we want to do it before the out-breath. Because you can see after we coil, this is 1 minute. So if you're waiting for a 1 minute engulfment, oftentimes you get a much worse fill. So then, just to break this down, my camera died, so I haven't got a camera on right now, but I'm currently reading the playbook by Mike Bellafiore. And since then, I've revamped the way that I'm doing my trade, or gathering my screenshots, let's say. And it has proved massively helpful. So I've put a template for this. You can download it below. It's basically answering yourself or asking yourself the important questions towards building up a trade. So before, I would just have my screenshots, I would have my data, etc. But now I'm going in and asking, okay, so what did yesterday do that made this trade identifiable? What was the signal day, let's say? So we close and break out at the end of the week. We also had a third close and breakout of the new month, and then this sets us up to take out the high of the month on Monday. So I'm already waiting for this trade before it happens, and then also then asking myself, what geometry did the previous session set up? So by geometry, I mean, what did they achieve, or what geometry was created? So which range, which high and low? And then here we can see, so we had a pump. And again, always having the daily here, because this is the reason that this works. This at just any point in the market it's happening all the time. This is only valid because of this here. So we have our pump, 3 peaks into the high of the month. So 1 peak, 2 peak, 3 peaks, coil, and then the rollover. So this is set up to be explosive because we have space here. Here's the high of the month level, and then we roll over. This is a scalable trade setup. Then gold, very similarly. So gold, 3 higher closes. Actually, I'll show you the chart first so it makes sense. So then gold, so another signal day. So we have 1, 2, 3 higher closes. This now is a signal day, so I had this marked out. 3 higher closes here. And then we also had the high of the month. So this trade actually tricked me because I didn't participate in this one because of this. So we had the 1, 2, 3 higher closes. We actually took out the high of the month on Friday. So as we then pumped back up, in my head I was thinking, okay, this was not a false break. We didn't break and then roll over. We actually continued up to the upside. What I've noted since then is after it rolled over, so then it rolled over and I had an alert set here waiting for it to come back, but that was completely pointless because these setups that I'm walking through now, the whole purpose of these setups, they're violently explosive moves. That's why they're scalable, and that's why you don't wait for a pullback to come back up, because if the trade is right, this shouldn't come back. It should just move in one direction. ACB setups, as Stacey Brooks says, ain't coming back. And the reason it doesn't come back is because of these signal days, because they've already got the longs in the market, taken out the high of the month, so there's no need for this market to come back. And then we can see here, day one. So what I mean by day one is or as Stacey says it's a day that takes out the previous day's high. So this didn't actually take out the previous day's high. This was the third day short, and then we had the false break. So then this is the first day that takes out the previous day's high, second day, and then today was the third day. So we have 1, 2, 3 higher closes. So when the close is higher than the open, 3 days in a row, and then we've taken out the previous day's high 3 days in a row. So we can see here, so we took out yesterday's high, we took out yesterday's high, and we took out yesterday's high. So that's 2 signal days at our signal area, the high of the month. There is no need for this market to come back. This is again a scalable opportunity. In terms of trade management, so again, I literally had my alert just above this high. So silly in hindsight. But again, I let the fact that it had come up again shake me out of my position or scare me out of my position, let's say. So let's note that if we have our signal days, we're at the area, even if they've already taken out the high of the month, it's completely normal for them to come back up again. And again, it's the same setup. It's the 3 peaks at the high of the month. So in reality, yeah, I should not have been scared of this setup. And then we can see again, beautiful setup for a violent move by creating the space. So we have the pump, 3 peaks, high of the month, coil volume, and then we roll over. So if we were entering this position, where I would be entering is waiting for this pump to roll over. So I always want to enter on a fractal shift. So after we've broken and then broken again, then as we coil here, this is where we can then add size, because once it coils, we've already confirmed the move. We've already broken structure twice. We have our daily confirmation. So we're looking for the coils to actually scale into the position. So once we go sideways, we can be adding in here, anticipating the next explosive move. So the way that I trade these is I will go in very heavy on these coils and also be very tight with my stop. So honestly, if we even get a impulse up to here, I'm lightening up my position, and then if we engulf again, I'm getting back in again heavy. So I'm really dancing with it, flowing with the market and seeing, because before I would hold on to the big size and then just get burned thinking, okay, maybe it's just coming up to this imbalance, etc. And if you really want to go in like uncomfortably big, we have to cut them, because that kind of size can be applied to these setups because they're one directional, because they're explosive. That's the beauty about these, and that's why it's literally, in my opinion, the best way to trade, because you can put on the type of size that you couldn't put on a normal position. Like, I can't even hold the size that I want to hold up to here. Like, it's big size. I said the word size so much, but really I'm very tentative and monitoring, often closing and entering multiple times if it comes up here. And then, yeah, once we then get the confirmation, boom, dragging my risk down. of course, my initial entry, it's my standard size. I got my stop placed nice and high, and that one I just hold. I don't touch that one. But then once we scale in and I add size, that's when I'm more monitoring it. Here's a better view. So in this coil, add the size, pump, roll over. There we go. So what did yesterday do to make this identifiable? This is the most important thing. This is so crucial. Asking ourselves this. So what do? We had third day short, and then we had day 1, day 2, day 3, high of the month. Just identifying that. So we had a third higher close, 3 longs in the market at the high of the month. That's everything we need to know. So guys, look, then we can see here. So again, I asked myself, what did the geometry of the previous session set up? So again, looks the same as oil. So we had a pump, put in the initial peak, and then here we have our middle structure. So we have the initial dump. After this, we can then anticipate a pump back up to the extreme. So remember, this will either trade into this extreme or it will stop on it. Both are completely valid. And then we can see here, this is actually a fractal version of that. So we have the pump, middle structure, price will trade back up into it. The middle structure really helps to know where we are, like just staring at this, setting up multiple times. And once you get a fractal, it's textbook. And then US 30, again, same thesis, using the low of the month this time instead of the high of the month, and the close and breakout. So the most important closes and breakouts. So CIB is close and breakout. That's the most important ones are the ones that will finish a month closing and breakout or finish a week closing and breakout. So here we had the month finishing closing and breakout. So that means we can anticipate looking for a reversal trade. So in the first day of the month opens, we pump up. So then we open a month closing and breakout. This is then a signal day for a reversal trade down. So then you get a second signal day here. So then you get a close and breakout followed by an inside bar. Inside bar is a huge signal day that is going to be an explosive move the next day. Then textbook false break of the inside bar. So false break of our signal day for an explosive move down. Then what we can see is, what do we have? We have our first lower close, second lower close, third lower close coming into the beginning of the new month. So that this is then our signal day. So then the next 2 days I was buying and scaling up massively in US 30. So then what happens then? So then we had, so I bought here, and then just didn't take any trades on Friday. Then we had another signal day. So we have signal day, signal day, signal day, signal day, signal day. So all of these, I don't take a trade, or I don't take a scalable trade unless I have a signal day the day before. So I'm already anticipating the move, and it doesn't have to happen the next day. So here you had a signal day, anticipating the reversal, doesn't happen. But what do we get? We get a second signal day. So we have the close and breakout at the high of the month, so trapping traders long. Then the next signal day, inside bar. So that's the volume, trade volume condensed. So it's like that is the in-breath, that's the consolidation, waiting for the out-breath, the exhale. And here you can see this is the consolidation day. So that day was actually putting in the middle structure. So what do we do then? We're anticipating price to trade back up into the extreme, take out the high of the day and roll over, boom. Look at that, doesn't come back. Then here, so we then had our 3 closes down. So this is our new signal day. So once price closed here, what I'm looking for is a buy opportunity. So we had a false break of this daily low, and then we began to push up, coiling. I scaled into this position and then got very heavy around here as we had coil volume on the 1 minute. was up massive, and then here I held on to the size for too long, and yeah, just got absolutely wrecked. So hence now why I've changed my rules to scaling in to adding serious size. Then the next day, so we still had this is our first green day, let's say so we have 3 days down. This is our reversal trade, so our first green day. So this is again a signal day that we're likely to continue. So what we're looking for then is for a buy low opportunity. So price opens, comes down. This is New York. Once we then begin to, on the 1 minute, we have the coil, boom, boom, and I'm scaling into this position. This is probably where my last entries were, scaling in heavy, and then moving my stop up as we go, because these trades, ACB, aren't coming back. And then I got taken out around here on a 5-minute break of structure. So then today's setup. So we had that move. We have our new signal day. We closed the week in breakout near the low of the month. So then what we're looking for is for price to have a false break of the low of the month and then coil. So this is the low of the month. We break out and then we break structure. So it's a false break. This is a huge indication that price is not going to reverse. Trading through a level. If this was to continue down, what we do is we would trade through and stay outside of the range. If we pull back inside the range and then break structure, this is a false break to me. So now we have false break at our signal area after our signal day. Then we coil, liquidity sweep, and break structure. Boom. Initial entries here once we have the fractal shift on the 1 minute, and then scaling into the position once we have our equity stop hunt. So I'll show you that more zoomed in now. So initial entry, once we open, first hour down, we have a reversal, a time compression reversal on the 1 minute. Boom, first entry. And then where could I have added size responsibly? So first hour goes down. As the new hour begins, again, this is now our new level. So we have a false break. So we go down outside the level. If this is to sustain down, we should not pull back inside, first of all, and then we shouldn't break structure. So once we pull outside the range, pull back inside, break structure, boom. This is now confirmed reversal for me. So after we get our fractal shift, so I wait for one break of structure and then second break of structure, boom, I'm in this market. If we get volume, I'm adding size and then waiting for equities. So equities will either be the stop hunt or the trade. So once 8:30 opens, once the stock market opens in the US, as we know, massive injection of liquidity, especially onto the indexes. The injection of liquidity will either be the trade or it'll be the stop hunt. In this case, equities opened and this was the stop hunt. So as soon as then I was anticipating adding a position here, but I waited until we then confirmed. Boom, that's now another break of structure, confirmed entry to scale in. So then important, what did yesterday do that made this trade identifiable? So our signal was that Friday close and breakout at the end of the week. So this means there's lots of volume entering, people thinking price is going to lower. So close in breakouts at the end of the week or the end of the month are super significant. We then get a false break at the low of the month. We now have our signal. We want to see a coil and we get our coil. False break, break of structure, coil. Again, the reason that we can take this trade and the reason that it doesn't come back is because of this, is because we've taken out the low of the month. Cool. I can go through other ones, but they're all very similar variations. Today was just a beautiful day of low of months and high of months. So I guess what I would say is it's extremely, okay, so GU is still rolling over. So yeah, again, with this one, we have our first breakout, second breakout, third breakout. So the month began and we went straight away down. So this is setting up, once we get a close and breakout again, potentially here, or some kind of signal day, the signaling this is ready for a reversal, we can then look for a buy low setup for an explosive move, because we've had a large move down. If we get a inside bar day after this, that'll be golden. Then I'll be licking my lips and saying, okay, cool, we have the volume trapped down, we have the volume condensed with an inside bar, 2 signal days. Let's look for a buy low setup the next day to take an explosive move. So what I would say is what really helps me is going through on the daily charts and just identifying signal days. So silver, so I traded silver here. So we had the new month began and we had 1 upper close, 2 higher closes, 3 higher closes, closing and breakout. And then that's a signal day. So it's 3 higher closes. That should be here. And that's signifying a reversal. So then I traded silver short down to here, closed at the 3rd lower close, and I didn't actually take the move up. So this was 3 higher closes, 3 lower closes. This was a signal day. I just closed my position and then boom, the next move up happened. So super, super powerful stuff. High of the month, 3 higher closes coming into the high of the month. That is what gave us this explosive move here. Copper, big move. Copper, 3 higher closes. And now, so in this explosive moving market, what we're looking at is, okay, if this is to continue, all down days are potentially signal days for continuations. This had such a big move that I'm actually staying clear of copper for now. Oil, close and breakout, 3rd close and breakout, false break high of the month. Beautiful, beautiful signal day. Again, US 30, we've just been through that. S&P, NAS, Bitcoin. Yeah, so Bitcoin, if we look at the weekly, 1, 2, 3 closes in breakout. So not only did we have 3 closes in breakout, this one was a massive, the 3rd week was a big week closing in breakout. So now what I'm looking for, so we have consolidation. So 1, 2, 3 days consolidation. We might then get 1, 2, 3 days. Regardless of, I'll be looking at how this daily candle closes to take a explosive trade short. Similar again on Ethereum, but I prefer the way that BTC is set up. We've had the 3 weeks closing and breakout. Ethereum too, but this week didn't actually engulf here, so I prefer the way BTC is set up. But yeah, that's the important thing to touch on, or to finish up on is observing the signals. And again here, so this is the dollar, so we can see the signal here. So this is new month opens, we break out, pull back, break out, number 2, pull back, break out. So now on dollar, we've had 3 breakouts at the beginning of the month. So I'm looking for shorts, potential shorts here. So what I'm doing is now monitoring daily closes, looking for signs that we are going to reverse. And then we've now had our signal to look for shorts. So then I'm dropping down to the lower time frames and seeing potential entries. So don't eat XY. So we've had our 3 closes up, pierced out of double zeros here. Monday can typically put in a peak formation high, peak formation low, day 0. So getting volume in the market. Tuesday can then either expand that range, or coil up for the explosive move. So I'll be looking at dollar tomorrow. Again, seeing how the daily closes. We've already had our signal day. We've already had 3 breakouts long. So I'm looking for dollar reversals now. So what I'll be doing is looking for EU buys and GU buys. Cool. All right, guys, I will leave that there. Yeah, main thing is then just building up your playbook of best trade setups, just going in and identifying what was the signal day, how could you have identified this before the fact. So answering these questions, well, where could you have added size? What did yesterday do to set this up? Where's my questions? And then preparing to plan the trade plan. Here you can see, so we had 3 lower closes, 1, 2, 3 lower closes. That's what enabled me to actually scale up massively in this trade because of the daily signal. Cool. I'll leave it there, guys, and catch you in the next one.